Alright folks, now yesterday we covered all the vehicle changes coming to the super test for now, and it's mostly about the nerfs to the T95 Chieftain and the Object 279 early. These oppressive vehicles are keeping some players from enjoying the game, so nerf these vehicles, players might come back. But on the Russian server, they're actually going one step further, including legacy vehicles or collector's vehicles like AMX30B, the T62A, or the FV215B. So let's take a look on the Russian server to see what they're doing, but take it with a grain of salt. They have the Object 1560 version, which is like a flamethrower or kind of like 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗀 that has armor, runs up to you and flamethrowers you in the face. So their matchmaking is not exactly the best, mostly because of this thing. It's a thing. So let's take a look at what the Russians are doing, and they actually have a time frame. 2023 to 2026. Holy crap. Why so long? Due to large number of combat vehicles. Yeah, they have a lot of vehicles, or then again everybody has a lot of vehicles, but they're doing a little bit more. So the same vehicles we saw yesterday, but the premiums as well. Alright, no need to go through this list. It's mostly the same, so better adjustment for all the premiums. But they include a little bit more of the Chinese tank destroyers at tier 8, tier 9, the tier 7 Russian tank destroyer before the Object 268 version number 4, and the 46 Patton, surprisingly. Alright, let's take a look at more detailed changes. So already covered all these vehicles. The tier 8 Chinese tank destroyer gets better armor, better superstructure armor group, what the hell is that? Better engine power, which is nice, better health. It has only 1000 health for a freaking tier 8 armor tank destroyer? That's garbage. Hold on, really? I totally forget. It really has 1000 health for this piece of crap? It does! Holy crap! No way! It has less health. Oh my god, it has less health than a 𝗪𝗪𝗶𝗴𝗲𝗀. That is insane! Yeah, that thing needs a little bit more health. It's an armor class vehicle. It has armor. It plays like a ISU, except it's a little bit better than the ISU with a smaller gun. Not Russian, Chinese. That's surprising. Holy crap. It's been a while since I played this piece of turd, but yeah, also buff the shell velocity. They did not mention that. Alright. Yeah, that thing needs a buff. The tier 9 version gets better shell velocity, which is nice. Better accuracy, better reload, better engine power. Alright. Same goes with the tier 10. Tier 10 is already mentioned, but Su-100M1 gets armor reduction at tier 7. Okay. It's supposed to be based on the T44, but 120 for the hull front compared to 140. Did it actually have that much armor? Huh. It is 140. Holy crap. Alright, I mean, it's like a mini Object 268 version number 4 without a turret weak spot, but apparently no Russian bias on the Russian server. That's nice. Alright, Pershing. We already talked about the Pershing. The Patton gets a stock gun upgrade. I mean, logically speaking, yeah, that does make sense. Surprisingly, the other servers does not mention the stock gun buff. Same goes with the T54E1 from the T69. The stock gun gets a buff. So better grind for your stock gun. Alright, I thought it was a little bit bigger. They actually nerf the tier 9 VZ51 now too. Nerfed the autoloader on this vehicle and the reload time. Ooh, I mean, for that vehicle, I always prefer the single shot, mostly because it has a better turret than the tier 10. Doesn't have the weak spot as a tier 10. Yeah, this thing, the weak spot on this vehicle is smaller than the tier 10. Yeah, compared to that, it's smaller. And the single shot doesn't have a that big of a downside compared to the autoloader. So the DPM is a lot better using the single shot compared to the autoloader. Yeah, 1,800 DPM compared to 2,200. That's 400 alpha difference compared to the tier 10, which is 2,400, 2,600. So it's only 200 difference for the tier 10. It's 400 difference for the tier freaking 9, as well as the accuracy. 0.04 accuracy is also pretty big. A little bit longer aim time as well, but it's more worthwhile with this vehicle to use a single shot, since you can take the hits into your turret. The Commander Cupola is smaller, but they're nerfing the autoloader, surprisingly. Well, not surprisingly, compared to the tier 10. Makes sense. The Chieftain, the Object 279 early, they get nerfed, okay? But they're also changing Collector's vehicle. 113 gets a buff. Upper plate gets buffed by 20, so better sloping, or better armor sloped, effective thickness, but turret is the same. Commander Cupola, Loader Cupola is still the weak spot, that's fine. FV215B gets better side armor, and better alpha. 400 alpha to 440. Interesting. So basically buffing the DPM by 40. It already has decent DPM too, but side armor on that vehicle is, yeah, crap. Really? I thought it says 102, but apparently it was 50 somewhere. Where the hell is it? 50. Oh, it's 50 between the tracks, but you have the space armor to help out. It's 100 above the tracks, but yeah, with the 50% boost to like 72, 76, yeah, it should be a lot more effective in terms of side scraping, but DPM gets buffed by 10% practically without changing the reload time. If it's 400 to 440, you're increasing by 10%. This increase by 10% is like 3,500 or so, 3,600. That's pretty good. That's a lot of DPM, but it's basically a DPM machine. Downside to this vehicle is also the number of shells you carry with the L11. Or, yeah, L1, sorry, not L11. So you only carry like what, 30 rounds? 37 rounds? 35 rounds? Ugh, yeah, you have the DPM, but you'll run out of ammo pretty quick if you spam too much. I mean, it's a welcome change. This thing is in the dumpster for a long while. AMX30B, alpha upgrade, reload time upgrade, it gets a lot better DPM now. Shell velocity upgrade. It still has wonky accuracy, but I mean, DPM gets dramatically buff. Holy crap. Not very popular, it's a collectible, yada yada, but yeah, let's see how much DPM this thing has. I never have one. Luckily for the upcoming anniversary, you get one for discount. So French collector's vehicle. I mean, currently base DPM is not bad, but if they're going to buff the alpha, also buffing the reload, then holy crap, this thing is a DPM machine. No way you're buffing like 30 more alpha along with like half a second faster. Same goes with shell velocity. That's, I mean, it's already 3,130 DPM. That would jump up to like what? 3,500? 3,600? Holy shit. Alright, and finally, the T62A gets a better top speed by 10 km/h, better engine power, better alpha, same reload time for better DPM, better accuracy, better camo. Holy crap, this is good. This is real good. Can we have this? I actually prefer the T62A over my Object 140, surprisingly. Mostly because the turret armor is a lot more sturdy. But it's been a long while since I played mine. Holy crap, buffing the alpha. It's already like good DPM. I mean, Russian medium tanks have a lot of DPM, but now it has better alpha. Yeah, better alpha by 40. That's more than 10%. And better accuracy, base accuracy is also better too. It's 0.3 now with a fast aim time. Yeah, give us this with a better top speed and engine power. Oh god, this engine power is delicious. Give me this, please. You announce a large-scale rebalance for vehicles. It will take you like 3 years to do so. Why were these cars chosen for the rebalance? I'm no. Oh, cars means tank, not actual cars. It's currently being tested on final changes. Yes, changes are possible. Blah 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 blah. Performance characteristics. Premium tanks can also change. Mostly not nerf, but no changes to personal missions for the Object 279 early. Alright. Well, there you go, folks. The Russian servers are doing a little bit more. I just want this change for the T62A. AMX30B seems also pretty hefty. But upper plate slight buff for the 113, meh. FE25B, I mean, it's still kind of garbage, but now it punches a little bit more harder. I mean, you still need more ammo with the FE25B, but yeah, surprising the Russian servers are doing a little bit more. So originally on the original videos, that was last year for the preview, they showed you vehicle rebalance with this page. Now on this page, we have a IS-3, not mentioned. This looks like a 121, not mentioned. Batchat, not mentioned. ARL V39 at tier 6, not mentioned. 110 mentioned. 7-1 Centurion, that already got buffed with the Action X Centurion, I presume. That looks like an E50. It should be an E50 with the 105. Not mentioned. M46 Patton, not really mentioned. And 𝗪𝗵_𝗶𝗴𝗲𝗀 in the back, not really mentioned. Was there like KV4s? Let's see. I remember there were like KV4s. Yeah, Type 5 KV4 looks like a AMX65T as well. Oh, looks like an Object 416, or at least the 705. Oh, no. It's a 430. It's a 430 version number 2. And you go slower. Okay. It's a WZ132. And Object 430 version number 2. So I know these two vehicles. Not mentioned in terms of change, but alright. So originally for the vehicle rebalance we have this page. So
and
this was February.
Vehicle rebalancing in 2023.
Oh, they mentioned the Action X Centurion. Wait, what? We never see the 𝗪𝗲𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗀𝗀 being changed. Huh.
Common test, we're starting with a focus on improving out-of-meta tanks to make them more popular.
I don't remember the change to the... There was a slight change to the rhinoceronte, but not that much, right?
And appealing to play, as well as balancing those vehicles.
Oh, you nerfed the crap out of the Doom Turtle. God damn it. Nerfed the view range of the Doom Turtles. Oh.
Data shows are currently overperforming slightly. You can check out the
article. Oh, they nerfed the Projecto. Okay.
Our portal for more details about these current balance
MX
changes.
M4 series got nerfed.
This is not the last set of vehicle rebalancing we'll see in 2023. This is just the
constantly being nerfed since inception. It's also pretty slow without armor.
Based on observations and evaluations of vehicle performance.
Alright, I mean, we're missing a few. Did they not mention the vehicle rebalance in the last, or this was like what, April? April. No vehicle rebalance for April version of roadmap. So, oof. Only Frontline and Steel Hunter. And lastly, we have the Japanese heavy tanks announced with the Waffentrager event, the 𝗲𝗎 13, and Japanese heavy tanks. So, ooh, they did not mention any vehicle rebalance at the end of this video. This was like real recent, like last week. But there you go, folks. So let's take a look at which vehicles I think needs a buff or nerf, for that matter. But American Tech Tree, let's just mark this up. This needs a buff. This needs a big buff. The 2 tumor on top is pretty big. Yo tanks, this needs a slight buff. The Cupola is still a big weak spot on this thing. You have a T29 as a competition. You're not playing with this yo. You're not playing the M2 yo. Same goes with the tier 10. It needs a slight buff for the tier 10. Doesn't feel special. I mean, double tracks mechanic, meh, doesn't matter that much, right? Doesn't really matter that much. Sheridan, I think, needs a buff. T49 needs a buff. The Bulldog is already getting a buff. I mean, you're playing against very stealthy light tanks, like the AMX-13s or the Manticore. So you're practically a medium tank at this point. The main feature back then for these two vehicles is the derp gun, the 152 derp. But they nerf high explosive, so kick. Needs a buff. M46 Patton already got the buff from the Iridan Commander Cupola, so that was way back then, but this is already getting a buff. This already gotten a buff. Same goes with the T57 Heavy, but does the T20 need a buff? No, it does not. It's already good enough. Alright, rest of these vehicles feels fine. They already nerfed the T29 into the ground. E5 buff, please. Buff the Commander Cupola on the E5. This has been collecting dust for a while. Buff the E5. So alright, moving back to the next tech tree. The Germans. Let's see what the not print, I don't need to print. Markup. Alright. Germans buff the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen line. They mentioned it. I don't see one. Did they mention the buff, or did the buff? It doesn't feel like they did, but these play like with the Sheridan, so play like a smaller Leopard 1. You're not outspotting the ELCs or Manticores or GSOR 3301s. You're not outspotting those light tanks. You're not out combating the Russian light tanks, so you're practically a smaller Leopard 1s. These needs a buff, really. Alright, Panther is fine. E50 might need a slight buff, but it's alright. I don't think it needs one, but they showed you the E50 in the video, so I presume there's a buff. Alright, they're buffing the VK4502, which is good. I mean, over buffing too, so pretty good. Alright, we'll get this out of the way. This is a piece of turd. Come on, buff this thing. Or give us back the Waffen trigger off E100. One the which, but yeah, this, oh god. Alright, as for the rest of the Germans, they seem fine. E100 seems fine, Mouse seems fine. They all seem fine. It's fine. It's mostly this thing. This thing. Buff this thing, please. Alright, moving on to the Russians. Russians, I mean, IS-4 already got the buff. You don't really need to buff the IS-4. Buff this thing. This thing. The K91 needs a speciality. Nobody plays it. Nobody. Same goes with the T44, A44. T44 is fine. Buff this thing back to original stats. The Object 430 version number 2. Buff this thing slightly. I mean, it's like playing with the light tank. It's like playing with the medium tank as a light tank, but you're still not outspotting some of the other light tanks, right? Buff this thing slightly. 705 feels fine. The IS-7 line feels fine. IS tanks are still fine-ish, in my honest opinion. Buff this piece of crap to ensure it has fallen from its original godlyhood of the D25T. The KV1S is just shame. 277 is fine. T10 is fine. They're nerfing this line. I mean, it has been the target of nerfs for like 4 or 5 patches all to get consequentially together. So it has been long targeted for nerfs, but STI is fine. The double barrel is fine. They're buffing the ST2. Alright, so nothing really out of the ordinary other than the K91, in my honest opinion. Doesn't feel good to play it. Alright, what's next? British. Not print. Markup. This thing's a piece of turd. Buff this thing, please. I mean, they're already nerfing it. You're trading a lot for that explosive one-hit kill, but God damn, it's a lot to trade for that shot. It is practically everything going for it, taken away for that one shot. So, no, I don't know how. I mean, it's more fun playing with the Conway. Definitely more fun, especially playing with 120, not the derp gun. But Jesus, this you feel turd. Alright, Centurions got buffed recently. Super Conqueror line doesn't need the buff other than the Churchill. The Tank Destroyers maybe buff the Badger slightly. Maybe, but I don't think you need it. Maybe the shell velocity. Nah, he already has DPM. He already has the armor, but the lower plate is the dramatic weak spot. It's dramatically different than the Tortoise. Tortoise is the loader cupola on top, but yeah, it's okay. Alright, moving on to the French. Let's do the markup. French, I don't think you need to buff the Foch B, but it might be preferable. I don't see a lot of Foch Bs or Foch. So, you might say, oh, it's like a Waffentrager without a turret. That's a big factor when you think about it. Very big factor. The 50B might be in need of some love, but you'll usually see a T57 heavy instead of the 50B. Same goes with the 5120 or 5100, but AMX M4 has been long nerfed. So, long targeted like the Object 268 version number 4. These are questionable, questionable. So, I mean, in the hands of a good player, god damn, these are oppressive. In the hands of a turd, you're at a detriment. So, very variants with these cars, clown cars. This needs a buff. The bathtub might need a buff. Maybe the teapot, BDR, G1B. These are all fine, mostly. Alright, moving on to the Czechs. So they're already nerfing. And nothing. Oh, this needs to be mentioned. Piece of turd needs a buff. Piece of slight turd that needs a buff. This might need a buff slightly. God, these sucks. Stupid turd. I'm still a turd after the buff, but still a turd after all these years. Only these two vehicles are worthwhile. Just sold mine. Just take them away. I don't need them. Turds. Alright, moving on to the Japanese. Oh god. This needs a buff, needs a buff, needs a buff, needs a buff. This mostly needs a buff. The Oho is gun depression sucks. You nerf all the high exposure rounds, so no fun of playing Type 5 or Type 4. It's a punching bag, practically, so buff these. Cheery doesn't need a buff. STA doesn't really need a buff. They already got a DPM buff, I think. But Type 61 has a lot of DPM, same goes with the STB. This might need a buff. Hull armor is just garbage. Compared to the Hori 1, or the Tier 9, Hori technically 2, but compared to this thing, the hull armor is just crap. And the same superstructure, so same 300mm superstructure is still kind of crap against Gold Shell, but yeah, this might need a buff. This needs a buff. This is so slow. The Tier 6 is so goddamn slow. It doesn't play like the rest of the vehicles. Jesus, it's crap. Alright, Chinese Tech Tree. Oh, yeah, they're buffing all the tank destroyers, so not need to mention those. This needs a buff. BZ75 feels super inferior to the BZ68. Mostly because the Commander Cupola is just garbage on top. Yeah, this might need a buff for the Commander Cupola, but surprisingly, the Commander Cupola on the Tier 7 and the Tier 9 is a lot better than the Tier 8 and the Tier 10. Especially for the Tier 10. God, the Tier 10 suck. Chinese medium tank, this needs a buff slightly. This needs a buff slightly. They already buffed the original gun depression by like half a degree on this thing. From like 3 degrees to like 3.5 or something, but gun depression on this sucks. Gun depression on this one is better, but still sucks. Nobody plays the Chinese light tank other than the premium at Tier 6, but yeah, nobody played the Chinese light tanks. So these needs a touch up. And moving on to the Polish. They're fine. Yeah, they're mostly fine. Just give the medium tanks the turbocharger mode on the CS63 and you'll be fine. These seems relatively okay. They're fine. The heavy tanks don't really play like the higher tiers. The tier 8 and the tier 7 doesn't really play like the higher tier ones. They play like IS mostly, but that's still fine in my opinion. Yeah, just give the medium tanks the turbocharger. Alright, moving on to the Swedish. They nerfed the 𝗪𝗏s, nerfed the Kranwagen for a long while. Medium tanks are fine, tank destroyers are fine, Swedish is fine, they're fine. And finally, the Italians. Mostly this thing. Buff this thing, please. Sub 2000 DPM for auto reloader at tier 10. God, this thing is crap. Buff this thing, please. Buff the DPM dramatically, or at least buff the alpha, right? Buff the alpha to like 500, 550. It'll be fine, but God, this thing. Yeah. Maybe, this is fine. You don't really need a buff. This might need a slight buff, but not really. The Minotauros are fine. Just learn how to play against them, or don't even face hug them. So they have the armor, but just don't face them. They have no penetration, I think. I just shoot them in the ass. Oh, there you go, folks. Another 30 minutes of time wasted me talking about vehicles that actually needs a buff, but I really want to see the T62A get that buff. That would be dramatically amazing. It might bleed into the Object 140 as well. These two are practically brothers, or they are back then, but nobody plays the K91. It has the best 100mm for a medium tank, the fastest shell velocity, and the best DPM, but nobody plays it, mostly because it's a fixed mounted turret. It has the best camo too, out of all of these. Yep, the best camo out of all of them. Alright, yeah, the best. It has a skin on the 140. Yeah, the best camo, holy crap. Base of 28, but then again I have a crew, still. Oof. Well, there you go, folks. Another 30 minutes wasted watching me talk about vehicles that might not come to pass. Might not. Time frame of 2023 to 2026. Jesus Christ. Hell will be frozen over, and there will be like, what, 10 more tech trees to deal with, but can they even squeeze out 10 more tech trees of vehicles? I mean, we might get flamethrowers down the line, which is obscene. 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 with a slope 200mm at the hull front, running up to you and flamethrowers you in the face. So imagine an E25 runs up to you and breathe smoke and fire into your face. God damn, it's even more toxic than you ever know. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.